All right, welcome to this new working group meeting, the first of the year. And yeah, remind that this meeting falls under the CNCF Code of Conduct, which can be summarized under "be nice to each other." And yeah, the purpose of today, objective of today, would be to recap what we did in December, since we had a little break. So a little bit of roadmap and different elements to discuss. And yeah, so does someone volunteer for taking notes? I cannot.
I can do that.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Ross. So yeah, let's start from an overview of the issues. I'll share my screen quickly. So we have some issues. We have added some new ones, but I think the one we can start from is this one. So the objective was to manually install different components, because we want to gather some metrics, specifically the metrics that Kepler exposes with the usage of Falco. For this reason, we thought about the first step when we manually deploy different components to the cluster. So we have deployed Cilium, Kepler, Prometheus, and the synthetic workload, which is a service of Google Cloud on the cluster successfully. I think for the moment we'll keep the load generation tool out of scope, at least until we have we manage to deploy Falco. And so for the manual steps, the ticks here are not super updated, but you can imagine here a tick for Prometheus and the synthetic workload. This means that we only wait for Falco, but we have a tracking issue from Falco. They created a repo called CNCF Green Review Testing, and they already posted a customization file for installing Falco. Will open a PR soon, and after this is done, we'll also have Falco installed. And yeah, we'll have a first phase in which we have all the elements needed for gather some of the metrics around Falco in Kepler. So this was the first milestone, so to say, and we are close to that. Any questions? Nope. Then let's move into the next issue, which is automated tracking of the cluster components. Basically, we have installed most of the components manually. We would like this installation to be reproducible, so we have started working on some Flux TRDs in order to install the same components but via Flux. And I think this is done for Cilium. There is an open, so not for Cilium, there is an open pull request for Cilium. There is an open pull request for Prometheus, but needs some work. There is something related to Grafana, but I think Grafana and Prometheus are tackled within the same chart, right? Like there was a comment, so I think I was quickly going over the issues, and Dipankar was saying that when we install Prometheus, also Grafana gets installed, so we might not need this issue, because when we install Prometheus, we also get Grafana. But I haven't looked into the details. Ross, have you? Do you know more about it?
I've looked a bit into it, and yes, you're right. When we're using the Prometheus stack, and that will have Prometheus and Grafana. We just want to make the change where we're going to deploy Prometheus using a Helm release. I think Antonio, you're going to change that, and that's just so we can have dependencies, because the Kepler chart has a dependency on Prometheus.
Yeah.
I think there's just one.
Quickly.
So there's one other change we might want to make. Is currently Kepler is deployed in the Kepler namespace, but then we have problems scraping it, and we need to patch the cluster role to scrape it. So we might actually want to move Kepler to the monitoring namespace as well, and then Prometheus can scrape anything that's in the monitoring namespace.
Okay, and is there tracking issue or like a comment for changing the namespace of Kepler already?
There isn't yet, but I can reply maybe in the Prometheus pull request you've already got. I think we could probably change both at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So I'll leave a comment there and one here so that we have a follow-up and we can act in the next week. So then, like, I think here the bunker is correct. You you're taking notes, so it would be difficult for you to do both.
Yes,
but I can write here like, yes, you're right. And then I can also tag in. Okay. So back to here.
Can I just ask a quick question, Antonio? I think wasn't that issue not just about installing Grafana itself, but the specific dashboard for Kepler? From what I saw, now I haven't read it in full detail, but from what I saw in the suggestion in the description later down, it was about also installing Kepler specific dashboard that could visualize the data and not just installing Grafana itself.
Let me check.
Yes, Christian, you're right. Kepler has a dashboard that we can reuse, and I think also going forward we might want to have some of our own dashboards as well.
Okay, sorry, I was linking the wrong. Set up Grafana, set up
the third point there and the fourth one. So that's probably what would remain then.
Okay, that was too quick. But still, like, thanks.
No worries.
Yes, and there is just an extra step there as well, is we want to have a public Grafana, but we need to use maybe the Gateway API or an English controller to make the dashboard accessible. So I think that could be tackled by this ticket as well, so that we can have the dashboard being public as well.
I'm sorry, could you repeat? I was writing, I couldn't follow.
Yes, so we need to make the dashboard accessible as well. Probably using we can use the Gateway API in Cilium, so that then we can just route to the public dashboard.
Okay, and it was making the dashboard available also part of this ticket. Yes, make the dashboard public. Okay, then both the points. So, okay, let me add it here. Also, we are also get Grafana. Points need to be tackled. And this one. And then the second, we can use Cilium. What is it called? Cilium Gateway, or?
Yes, we can use Gateway API with Cilium. That was actually a suggestion from Debanga.
Okay. Was there written above, or?
I think that was when we were looking at the open TOEFL ticket as well. I think it was a separate issue. But
Okay,
I think
then I'll just
that's great, isn't it?
post the comment here as well to have it. And yep, so I think this, when I took a look here, this pull request was quite big, but Ross, could you remember me the status of this one? So I remember there was a provisioning of the infra, but also, and Cilium was needed for the infra to be provisioned, so Cilium is also there. And what is the status actually of this? Can we merge it, or do we need to do something else?
Yes, we just have one point on access being set up. We need an S3 bucket, and that's what TOEFL will use to store the state. So Nikki was checking on that a bit later. Actually, Leo's going to create a service desk ticket for us to get the S3 bucket, and then once we've got that, then we can merge this, and we'll be done.
Okay, so this is still in wait for the S3 buckets. Is there like a tag that we can put?
Yes, maybe blocked or something. It's quick because we're just until we can get those access credentials. We did this provisions the cluster, and it also bootstraps Cilium and Flux. So once this is in, then the cluster part of the automation will be done.
Yeah, I think I still cannot put the labels. Christina, do you know if I can put labels from here? Should I be able to?
Normally, if you have the right permissions, you should be able to. If neither you or Ross have it, I can do it for now.
It
but
looks
then
like it looks like I don't have it yet. But I saw that, for example, I could close a pull request. So I don't know.
Yeah, that is that doesn't really. I think that probably are a bit different permissions, but let's check if you have. I don't think I can assign you permissions, but we can just double check with Leo to ensure that you have what you need.
Okay, I'll write a note about it. Okay, so this manual we discussed it. Cilium we saw it. Prometheus, yeah, like we had a discussion because we need to use a slightly different CRD from Flux. So in the comments here, I think this was not the right comment. Yeah, like I used a Git repository and a customization to install Prometheus, but we need to use the Helm chart release so that Kepler can use the depends on flag. So I need to incorporate the changes, suggested changes by debunker, and like basically review this customization CRD to use the Helm release. So this is okay, thanks. And so this is also still ongoing. I will try to close this for the next meeting so that we have also this step done. And then, yeah, Grafana, we have discussed it. Falco will open a PR soon. And I think for the microservices demo also the status looks quite good. I only need to like also here basically we did the same thing. There were some comments actually from the bunker or something to change in it they look good, but I haven't had time to implement those changes yet. And basically this is the Helm release for this online boutique that is gonna simulate some traffic and some activity in the cluster itself, because yeah, Falco needs some activity in the cluster. So this is also discussed as an overview. So I think for the next meeting, we can try to maybe not for the Cilium, because we need this as rebugged, we might not be able to get it, but the other for Prometheus and synthetic workload, we can try to close the pull request with the changes, and then we're good to go. Okay, so this we discussed it. The pull request, we discussed it. This is the tracking for Falco. We discussed this one as well. This was the Falco security repo. It's okay. Sorry, let me move this one below. And then we can discuss about the next interesting topic, which would be to identify which sustainability related metrics we want to collect. So from one side, we have the operative tasks of setting everything which is needed for getting some metrics with Kepler, and we discussed till now the roadmap towards it, and on the other hand, we wanna in parallel handle the discussion about which sustainability metrics we want to collect and how. So for the sustainability metrics that are exposed by Kepler, it's straightforward because the how is going to be Prometheus. So Prometheus is going to store those metrics. But in general, for other metrics might be non-trivial. So yeah, this would be also something to discuss. I don't know if you already have some ideas on which sustainability metrics we want to collect, if we want to work directly on it, so this is more or less everything that we need to discuss now. We can decide what to work on in the next 40 minutes, basically. We have some operative time and questions if there are any.
Yes, I think that's our next step really, is to identify those metrics. And I think there's the energy consumption from Kepler. I think that's definitely what we want to collect. But also the Falco team are interested in some SRE type metrics as well. So Falco users can be used to the metrics that they're using currently. I think that was quite a long list. I need to find kind of where that is quite a long list. But what I was wondering is whether we could start maybe with energy consumption and also maybe 2 or 3 of those metrics as well, just so that we're collecting multiple metrics. And then as we kind of move forward and find out more, then we can increase the number of metrics, later on. But I think it would be good to include some others and not just energy consumption. What do you think on that, Antonio?
Yeah, I think like we have to find a good mix between SRE metrics and energy metrics. Question is like, how do we track? So I like your idea of implementing a growing list of metrics, so we can start from 3 or 4 metrics and then slowly growing them. Maybe we can have a process for requesting more metrics or something like this. And I don't know if there we can find also a way to somehow classify those metrics into like one classification that came into my mind was maybe SRE specific, and then some energy or green metrics. I don't know what the label can be. This would be the this is another idea. I don't know what, just to have 2 different sets of metrics. But yeah, I think like we have opportunity to improvise, or like to innovate better on there. Like there is the blue ocean to explore.
Yes, because I think it's also how we can do that kind of discovery phase and kind of start gathering those metrics, get more eyes on it as well. Because what I was thinking about is there's two components. There's the metrics that we're interested in, and also how we query. Do we need to have any kind of time periods? How long would a test be? And maybe also we need to have feedback within the run, so we make a query every minute or something to make sure everything is going okay. But I think the first step is defining the metrics, and then after that is what are the query periods. I can't iterate on that.
Yeah, I think you're right. We need to work also over the process of how this collection will work, because I think the query will depend mostly on the process. So I don't know how we will, for example, load test Falco, but I would say we would need to query for a window of time the system. So let's say we test for 1 hour, then we want to collect those metrics for this 1 hour, and then we need also some mechanism to query the metrics for this interval or something of this sort. I think we need to come up with a full process about it. Currently don't have a specific idea. I'm open to suggesting improvements and contribution.
Yes, and I mean maybe that could even be a document or a simple script of metrics and queries, and then we can get more feedback on that and do kind of an asynchronous discussion on that as well.
Yeah, maybe we can start. So assuming that we wanna, for this like 30 minutes, we wanna discuss the metrics, we can try to draft some ideas about metrics process and metrics collection and what kind of metrics. What do you think? Or else we can go through the open pull requests and try to close them. I see those two options. What do you prefer, guys?
I think it would be good to focus on the metrics in that part of the discussion, because I think on the automation we're making kind of steady progress, but it's the metrics part is the part that's less clear at the moment. So maybe we can start a discussion around that.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, cluster management, sustainability assessment pipeline, CNC project collaboration. Next steps, sustainability assessments. Here we have metrics, TESA, so tag security. I forgot about this assessment. Okay, this is copied by this security assessment. So like the same way we'll have sustainability assessment. And then during our collaboration with Falco, we have this focus on metrics such as energy consumption through Kepler. We also discuss some traditional SREs. There's also big room for long-term implementation. So yeah, this is what we discussed so far. Template. So open to doing the reviews, for example, creating a template for reviews to involve. Falco is the first project. And here there is the idea. Okay, so maybe we can elaborate a bit more here, right? What do you say?
Yes, I think that's good. I think the design doc is the right place for it, and then we can post it in the channel afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think it makes sense to have it in the same place for transparency and for people to easier locate it. I'm not sure if those metrics are part of this document already, but I think Melissa published a nice list of Falco specific metrics as a comment to one of the issues that you could probably just copy paste from, unless it has already been done.
Most probably, but the question is where.
Let's see here. Maybe let's see.
Here, these are metrics available. Maybe here. Falco metrics internally. No, this was the. No, I don't think it was this one. This was
Yeah,
some.
I'm wondering if that was that. If you see, it says the Falco project will therefore easily have this metrics available, and then it kind of provides in the brackets what kind of metrics, I guess, that is. The kernel event rate metrics, I guess.
Sys and the run. So I remember this discussion was something like, there is a set of metrics that Falco exposed. But then I think this was different from another set of SRE metrics that Falco was analyzing. I don't know if it was like a composition of those metrics, or maybe I honestly don't remember. But maybe we can find the comment on the issue first.
Yeah, I can see if I can find that. That was a while ago.
Yeah, that's. I think that's the whole purpose of today's meeting, to bring like everybody back on track. Like we haven't met for 1 month, so, and plus the holidays, so I did a complete brain dump.
Yeah, but at least it can be a good point to just start with basically those the list of those metrics from Falco, and then add some additional ones as we go. That would probably be the easiest.
Yes, because it was that same list. I think it's an issue in the tag repo rather than the working group. I'm also trying to find it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in the tag repo. There is a separate project board. You have probably seen it, that is related to the working group.
Yeah, let me see. In the tag repo, you mean?
Yeah, I sent a link to that project board, so there you could see all also the issues from the Green Reviews tooling repo as well are linked.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's number 183. Probably.
Really excited. Are the requirements nice to have? This was a very long time ago. Cluster and setup requirement, deploy synthetic workload.
See this comment, at least that's where Melissa mentions 3 or 4 metrics, which we probably need to find how they're called or what, but it's CPU memory and performance counters, I guess, or something. They're in the first bullet list there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's this one, yeah.
Use working group info will send Falco's own internal metrics, CPU, memory, and counters.
Yes, and CPU memory might be a good starting point, because we should get those from existing exporters. There might be an additional exporter we need for some of like the eBPF counters.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and
but then
there
I'm
she
thinking,
links them actually. There she provides a bit longer in the comment. There she provides the links, Falco internal metrics, and sorry if I interrupted, Antonio.
no.
Those, yeah, if you a bit higher there, what kind of relevant metrics is already gathered by Falco? Maybe those links could help.
Falco docs, Falco lips. What kind AX production performance, Falco internal metrics. And okay, now we go back here. Falco performance introduction, resource utilization, CPU memory utilization, server load, and Falco event drops. Quality assurance. Top metrics. So we can start with this four. What do you think? The question is like also, what are we gonna do with these metrics, right? Like because yeah, metrics help us to understand something. So maybe we can instead of starting from the metrics, we can start. I mean, like for sure, it's also energy. Like I mean, energy consumption and carbon footprint would like analyze those would be important. But then I guess what kind of details we want to know about it, right? That's what enables us to think about what metrics we need to collect. This is also tough to say.
Yes, I think also maybe we just need to, in some ways, get started on that and then evolve. I think the energy side is a bit more concrete because there's only really the main kind of couple of metrics, but how we can add more kind of SRE metrics as we need them. Maybe actually capturing those, so that would give us 5 metrics if we went for Kepler and those 4, and same measure for maybe 30 minutes or something, or choose a time period, however long we want to measure for. And then we can see, where we go from there.
Okay, I will add like another subsection called, I don't know, TESA process. And this is helium 3. And then like here we can say define a time range during which we want to measure the application sustainability, something like this. What about we get the CPU memory per X period? Now we use starting point an hour. What is this? Reading the message line 9977. Metrics enable reports. And around 1 hour. This must be the counters Melissa was talking about. This kernel event counters enabled. Okay, then we can start. What do you say about this memory? I don't know if there is like a single memory, just CPU and memory usage, or what do you think? Like CPU as like percentage of the CPU utilized, or in this Kubernetes, what is like millicore, the unit of unit used. But we can start. So like here, I can write something like.
I don't think it would it be much of a hassle to just take all the top metrics there and collect them, the ones provided in the doc.
Those here?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's the same way to enable them through the config, then
okay. Yeah, because then I'm thinking we have this set of metrics which is very specific for Falco, which is fine for the moment, but like, should I put a subsection? I mean, we can do like Falco POC, something like this.
Yes, it might also make sense to start with a small list. So we just have energy consumption, CPU, and memory. And then we know we'll need to add more metrics later, but that would just give us a starting point.
The link that was provided by Melissa about what metrics to create. We can
because we've also talked in the past about measuring kind of idle consumption and then deploying this analytic workload. But for a start, I would just, we've got the microservices demo running and just collect those metrics for a start, and then we can iterate later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I was thinking, it's the first time I read this resident set size is the portion of memory held in RAM by the process. Yes, that virtual memory size is the total memory allocated to process, including both RAM and swap space. Container memory working set bytes in Kubernetes settings. This is almost equivalent to C groups container memory use metric maybe exposed. And those metrics are already exposed by Falco, right? By this resource utilization. Because I don't see a one-on-one mapping, right? Or is it?
I think it's the lib BPF stats, because that's the one Melissa mentioned, that it needs to be enabled in the config.
Okay, so once those are enabled, then those metrics come up.
Do you have that comment open?
Somewhere. Yes.
Yeah. So if you scroll a bit up there on yeah, there you go. Where's it? Enable the BPF stats.
Test Falco's default configuration with each kernel driver, totaling 3 runs per release. Each kernel driver. Already I don't know what is a kernel driver. But I guess like different Linux have different kernel drivers, right? Okay, totaling 3 runs per release, then continues 24/7 to observe long-term performance. So this is already interesting for the process. So for Falco, we need to have continuous 24/7.
Yes, the only concern I have there is as we have more projects, because then essentially we would need to have nodes running permanently for each project.
Yeah, you're right. Can I link the comment? What was it? No.
But I think we can also, worry about that later. I mean, currently we've got a single worker node we can run everything on. Later we could have a node for Prometheus and a node for Falco and separate nodes there. But I think like the 24/7 part, I think that's quite a way forward from where we are now. I think we can start, working on the metrics collection now, but sooner than that.
Yeah. Okay, so like I will do like this, like we can have a short-term goal. It's like to analyze the metrics for a limited time. Example, 10 minutes. Then we can have a medium-term goal to analyze the metrics for a longer time, I don't know, 1 hour. And then a long-term goal. We can analyze 24/7. What do you think? This makes sense as a roadmap in the process. And like during this 10 minutes, we can have like continuous polling, like is it called like this when you continuous ask for these resources, and then I don't know, we can have continuous polling of the metrics, and we need to decide the frequency at which we would like to scrape those metrics. I don't know, it can be one per second or so.
Yes, I think that's good, because I think 10 minutes gives us kind of faster feedback and we don't really need a longer period to start. But I think also scraping during the test is good, because then if there's a problem, there's some kind of failure, we'll know about it sooner rather than waiting until the end of the run.
I have a question. Nice to meet you. My first time here. Hi, Raimundo. I'm sorry, we haven't. I should have done this. It's my first time hosting the group. We should have given time for people to introduce themselves. It's the first time and so on. You want to quickly say 2 words and present yourself. I'm very sorry. That was.
No, don't worry. Thank you very much. Yes, definitely. Raimundo here. I live in Brussels, Belgium. I'm from Mexico though. And I have managed to start working on the topic that is really my passion, which is the crossroads of sustainability in tech. And by joining a company, a startup, as a partner, a founding partner, we want to launch a truly sustainable cloud service. And for that, we want to base or work on Kubernetes and be able to tell the customers what is their footprint in regards of CO2 emissions and things like that. So this topic is very much of my attention, because I find it exactly what we need to do So I had a question, given that it's the first time here, whether you are going to have physical access to, well, the computers that are going to run the cluster, and whether it will be possible to also start measuring electricity consumption, for example. That's given that I haven't heard before, I wanted to know if that's a possibility.
Yeah, that's a good question. We have as a hardware an Equinix server. I'm not sure if Equinix provide an endpoint to know. I guess it's a virtual machine in the end. So with virtualization, it's always difficult to track the amount of usage or electricity used for that virtualized resource. But I'm not an expert of the API that Equinix provides. Maybe there is something, maybe not. It's a good question though. Ross, do you know something more?
Yes. So the Equinix machines we're using are bare metal. So Equinix provide infrastructure to CNCF, and that's they call it the community cluster, community lab, and that's infrastructure that we're using. So all the machines we're using are physical for Kepler, and so Kepler gets the energy metrics from RAPL. So it's physical machines with Intel CPUs. I think also they have ACPI, so you can also get the power measurement tool on the machine itself. So we have pretty good access, but obviously we don't own the machines. The machines are run by Equinix, but we should be able to use Kepler to kind of its full extent. I hope that helps. If you have any other questions on that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, indeed. So the reason I was wondering this is because I understand that now you want to start measuring one application only. But I was wondering whether those measurements needed to be at the end be transformed into, for example, the amount of CO2 that is emitted by running this application. And for that, you will still need the footprint for the energy and things like that. So yeah, it was for a little bit later on maybe, but I was curious about the setup. So thank you. Yeah.
Yes, and what can you just add on the carbon intensity part? So we're starting with different CNCF projects. So we're starting with Falco. Falco are kind of a Pathfinder project, and then we're going to roll out to more projects. For carbon intensity, we're looking at collecting the SCI score from Green Software Foundation, so the software carbon intensity score. The only issue is that we want to be able to do comparisons between projects. So for example, if we use the dynamic kind of carbon intensity from somewhere like electricity maps, we might take measurements with different values. But what might be useful for us is to have kind of annual carbon intensity, and then we could have comparable metrics so the teams can optimize on that.
Yep, thank you.
And I think it's worth mentioning that SCI is just one of the methodologies that we are looking into, and it's kind of still an open topic what kind of formulas we should use in order to calculate it long term, because there have been also some concerns and some feedback regarding the SCI, and if it may not be the 100% will give us 100% or good enough picture depending on our use case. So like if you have any inputs or you will have it as we progress, I think we still have an open issue on that, and we'll be happy to get some feedback. It would be valuable.
Yeah, definitely happy to do so.
I think Mercy has a hand raised.
Yeah, Mercy.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm joining the team for the first time, or this particular meeting for the first time, and I just want to introduce myself. So basically, I'm a student studying software engineering for sustainability, and additionally, I'm doing my intern with Essential in the technology and sustainability team. And I've previously contributed with like the CNCF tag in Sustainability Week, and I'm looking forward to contributing here. But right now, I really don't know exactly where to contribute or which parts I can come in. So if there's any way I can come in, do let me know. I'm very happy to contribute.
Yeah, Mercy, thanks a lot, because actually that's another of the thing I forgot to do. We have created actually yesterday 2 issues which are labeled as good first issue. And the first one, I believe, is this one. So yeah, you gave me opportunity to present what I forgot. Which is great about the open source and crowd. So we have a necessity of, so like right now we have a Kubernetes cluster running on Equinix, but we have full access to the cluster only for TAG co-chairs and TAG lead, or better, working group co-chairs and lead. And we might wanna let the people know what's running in the cluster without letting them, for example, create like have admin access. And for this reason, we've thought about creating a kubeconfig with read-only scope. So this would be a first good issue, so that maybe you have a pull request gets accepted and you can already check what's going on in the cluster. And then right after this one, there is another issue, which is this one, which basically uses the service account to expose the Kubernetes native dashboard, so that we have a nice way to visualize the content of the cluster and manage it efficiently. So if you're up to it, those are 2 good points to start. I saw that there was also another good first issue: install the Kepler dashboard. Russ, you wanna say quickly something about it, as you created this one?
Yes, yeah. That was the issue we talked about a bit earlier, about importing the Kepler dashboard and then also making it accessible with Gateway API. I think all of those issues are good to look at. I think probably actually the read-only kubeconfig will be super useful for us to give more access to more contributors and the Falco team as well. But yeah, I would say any of the issues you're interested in, mostly maybe if you want to post in the channel and in the Slack channel afterwards, we have the Slack channel for the working group. But yeah, if you wanted to look at some of those, it'd be great to have some new contributors there.
Okay, so I'll take time to look at the issues and then see which area I can contribute in.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. So, and then like we will slowly create more issues, and yeah, like enable all the participants to get their hands dirty.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome on board after the sustainability week. And yeah, so I mean, it's 5 minutes remaining. We have tried to come up with a set of metrics, top level metrics that we might want to scrape. And then I want to link this line here. Copy permalink, and then here I could write those metrics should be available when in the config we set lib pp stuffs. ppf stuffs include two, and then I wanted to link and then like here one just other, yeah, and then like basically those are included, right? It's like memory utilization coming up, or should we, or is it a different point? So CPU usage is for sure included. And maybe the memory usage is the sum or contain working memory set bytes. You know how to get the working memory utilization out of those?
Yes, the last metric I've used quite a bit, the working set bytes. The other two, I'm not fully sure on the difference there. Hopefully they're available already. We don't need to install any extra exporters. Yeah, it might be useful for this doc actually to find out, to have listed the actual metrics as well. So find out which metric we want to use for CPU usage. And then we could include the capital one as well. So we have all the metric names, and that can be like a starting point for the prompt libraries.
Like I'll write something like, we need to define what specific metrics we would like to use for CPU utilization and memory utilization. And do we need an issue for this, a tracking issue for the first set of, because we have a tracking issue for, where was it? Nope.
Yes, I think Nikki created an issue, a new one. I think that would be a good one. Yeah.
Okay, then we have this one. Okay, so then we can matrix. We can get this. Yeah, because then this is more an action step. So I can maybe write here. Action step would be to identify. This can be an action step. So you do identify a specific metric. Okay. Then we started the discussion on the metrics. We started the discussion on the process. I think like we tried to do a recap of whatever from the operative side is going on. So I think, yeah, like with 1 minute on the clock, it's time to say goodbye and see you in 2 weeks.
Congrats on your first succeeded meeting hosting, Antonio.
Yeah.
To the new joiners, Antonio is our newly appointed working group co-chair, and Ross is our newly appointed working group tech lead. So new year, new opportunities and all that.
New emotions.
Yeah.
Yes, a great job, Antonio.
Thanks everybody. So yeah, looking forward to see you in the next meeting. Bye-bye. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Or I don't know what's your time zone.
Thank you. Bye.